G'day gorgeous people and welcome back to Politics Made OK. Thank you everyone who's subscribed in the last week. It has been amazing to see, and for those of you that haven't, well, I just gotta say, do it now. I'm kidding. I mean, I will be doing these shows every single week, so if you subscribe, you'll be up to date on what's going on all the time in politics. But yeah, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. I mean, I am as chuffed as a politician on polling day. Unless you're Labour and it's the 2019 election. Too harsh? This week on PMO, I'm going to take you through Australia's friendships or alliances and go through which of those friends are giving us their spare COVID-19 vaccines and which aren't. Also, those hard borders that have been keeping us apart, well, the federal government has warned states this week that they could be in pretty big trouble if they try to keep them up after we've reached an 80% vaccination rate. Yeah, I'm talking like high court legal battle that you'll probably lose kind of trouble. Yep, I'm really just gonna spill the tea on this one. If you'll look over here, you'll see Gough Whitlam, one of Australia's great prime ministers. And if you'll cast your eyes up here, you'll see a politics nerd. So with that, let's get cracking and make politics okay. So here we are at the end of week 2 of a parliamentary sitting fortnight. That is, of course, a time when politicians from across the country come to Parliament to pass a lot of laws. Only it barely felt like a sitting this time because so few politicians actually came to Parliament because of all the outbreaks across the country. It meant that Parliament was pretty dead. I mean, it was just empty, barely anyone in the halls. It's a real ghost town. I was pretty lonely, but I had to be there, of course, as an essential worker. That's right, essential. The other weird thing about Parliament this week is that all the laws were passed while politicians were in this, how do I describe it? Glass cage of emotion. Nah, I'm kidding. It was just perspex glass that was set up between politicians in both chambers because of that pesky Delta variant going around. But can you imagine trying to talk to each other between those panes of glass? Yeah, I don't think I could do it. I reckon, like, spice it up a bit, you know? Give them, I don't know, like whiteboard markers and just see what happens. Yep, that's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about while in the press gallery wing of the chambers, looking down at the politicians. God, I love my job. Still, being behind glass, probably better than trying to zoom in, which so many politicians did. Crazy that would be a problem, right? Given Australia's, you know, lightning fast internet speeds. Anyway, despite it all, we did have some good news on Tuesday when the PM announced we were actually going to get some more Pfizer doses.
I said when I announced the additional Polish doses that we're able to get for Pfizer that I would leave no stone unturned in bringing forward and accessing more doses of mRNA vaccines. And that's exactly what we've done. We've continued on, and I'm pleased to announce today that we'll be boosting our September effort with a new dose swap deal with Singapore, which will see 500,000 doses arrive this week for distribution next week.
All right, so Poland gave us 1 million doses a few weeks ago for an undisclosed price, and now Singapore is giving us 500,000? Well, not exactly. I mean, they're not just giving us 500,000 doses, it's a dose swap, which means they're going to give us 500,000 now, and then in December, we're going to give them 500,000? Can't help imagining how that went. What you got there? Some spare Pfizer doses? Yeah, we've actually vaccinated like 80% of our population, so yeah, we're really on top of things. Right. Can we borrow some? Sorry, borrow? Yeah, we're only like 500,000. We'll give it back. I guess. I mean, you'll give it back? Yeah, in December. Just a little, you know, swap-a-roo. Okay. Here you go. Great. Yeah. We'll give it right back. In December. Yeah, in December. Yeah, it struck me as a bit weird too. But hey, if we're getting more Pfizer doses while fighting outbreaks in Victoria and New South Wales and here in the ACT, it can only be a good thing, right? It does make me wonder what Singapore's going to do with the 500,000 doses we give them in December, since they'll have a vaccination rate of like 90%? Maybe they'll just keep swapping them, you know? Just like that kid at school who'd always swap their lunch with everyone just so someone would talk to them. Yeah, that kid was me. So, Singapore, Poland, we're getting help from all sides, right? Well, there's one main country that's been keeping quiet on all this, and that's America. So why does it matter if the US specifically hasn't given us doses? Well, because they're our biggest strategic ally. In other words, we're meant to be like best friends. Imagine America is like Regina George in Mean Girls, you know, the queen bee of the international arena, if you will. The more America is like mean to us or even slightly ignores us in any way, the more questions are asked. That's right, Australia is the Gretchen Wieners of this metaphor. Does that make the character of Janice China? Like trying to sabotage Regina and the plastics? And then like Regina or America is like, why are you so obsessed with me? Okay, I'm just going to stop this metaphor before it gets really weird. To be fair, America has only vaccinated a bit more than 50% of its population, and it's got like more than 100,000 COVID cases a day. So it's really got to focus on keeping its house in order. Now to finish off, I wanted to talk to you guys about borders. Last week I talked about how this guy, Clive Palmer, had attracted a new member to his United Australia party, and that was this guy, Craig Kelly. What I kind of brushed over was that Craig, as a new member of the party, or actually leader, said that he and Clive would be taking states like WA and Queensland to the High Court over some of their measures against New South Wales, which include making travellers from New South Wales get at least one COVID jab before coming into either state. Now this could have all been chalked up to another Clive Palmer moment. I mean, it's not the first legal battle of its kind he's launched against WA. Except this time, someone spoke up about it and warned states could actually lose such a challenge. And that someone is the Attorney General of the country, Michaelia Cash. She told The Australian on Wednesday that once the country reached an 80% vaccination rate or so, the power of states like WA to put up a hard border, well, that power would diminish. Now, although WA beat Clive Palmer in his last battle against its border back in November, Cash is saying it might not play out the same way this time. Her argument was that the court ruled in WA's favour in November because at that time it was a proportionate response to put up a hard border. But she's saying once we reach those higher vaccination rates, a hard border might not seem so proportionate. This is a really big deal because people in WA are still pretty mad that the federal government intervened in that last border battle in November, siding with Clive Palmer. Now, the federal government quickly realised that was the wrong thing to do and pulled out of the case, but not before spending $1 million taxpayer dollars in legal fees. Federal Labor has capitalised on this whole thing in recent months, calling Clive Palmer, who WA hates, the Morrison government's best mate and good friend and whatever the hell this is. We'll have to see how that plays out in May, which is the latest a federal election can happen, but it could be earlier. There are a lot of weeks between then and now though, and an equal amount of PMO episodes to fill you in on it all. So don't forget to like and subscribe, follow me on socials, and join me every week on Politics Made OK.